Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, All Things Business. Al Thomas at the park today. I'm enjoying myself. What a beautiful day. You know, it is great in the middle of the day to come out to the park. You have it to yourself and you got the kids back here just getting out and they're playing a little bit of basketball and just watching it. You know, it's important to understand. Today I'm going to title this called Start with the End in Mind. What do you mean start with the end in mind? Yeah, you start with the end in mind. Let me explain something to you. You have to start with the end. What do you see yourself 3 to 5 years? Well, you start planning today. Let me talk about construction for a second. Think about it. The house, the building, apartment you're in, or commercial building you're in today, somebody thought of that. It started here with the end in mind, in their mind. They got the idea, write that down. They got an idea, right? They got the idea, and what they did, they got a piece of paper out and they scribble it out. It wasn't perfected. They scribble out what they wanted to see, because that's how you get there with an idea, the power of the mind. And they scribble it out on a piece of paper and say, ooh, this would be a great building. Ooh, this would be a great house. Ooh, this would be a great development. And what they did once they scratched it out, they went over and they rewrote it again, and they took it to an architect and said, hey, Mr. Architect, I want you to give me the schematics of this building I want to buy or build on this particular property. You know, and have you ever driven down the street and you see a remnant of what's going to be built on that empty lot? And you see the remnant and there's nothing there but dirt. But the remnant, and you go back a couple of weeks later and all of a sudden the foundation's laid, go back a month later, the framing's going up, you go back 6 months later and it's almost complete, and a year later, 8 months later, it's all completely done. It's all built and it looks just like the remnant. You look at the remnant like, oh my God, it looks exactly like they said it was going to be. Well, remember, they started it with the end in mind. What do you see for your business in the next 3 to 5 to 7 years? Start there, folks, and then go develop it, build it.
Hey, welcome back to the channel, Al Thomas. I've got some exciting news. As we go into 2025, a lot of us are wondering, gosh, with all this money printing, everything's going up, but my income, what can I do? Well, let me tell you something. I'm so excited. A friend of mine named The Ninja has a course, the best I've ever seen, on Bitcoin and XRP. It's $1,000 for the course. However, for our audience, he's giving it to us for 80% off. It's only $199 for a limited time. It's the best course for beginners. I'm a beginner. Matter of fact, I'm an old guy, but I'm learning how to pivot for 2025. I've done extremely well in a couple weeks. Trust me, if I told you 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, and more, yes, on my money. Exactly. Here again, this is the best investment, I think, for 2025. I rubber stamped it because I went through it. I took the first one. I loved it. And I've done very, very well. And so can you. Learn. That's what this channel is all about, learning. Take care, God bless, and get it before it goes up. It's a limited time. God bless.
So let's go back to the story. So all of a sudden, you get an idea, you sketch it out, and you said, this is great. You take it to the architect, say, listen, draw the schematics on this, and matter of fact, make a house for this, and I want to have it as a model home to look at. And all of a sudden, they do that, right? You pay the architect, you take that, and you go down to City Hall to the Planning Commission and say, I want to build this house or commercial building on this said property. And here's the dimension. Here, the architect put it all together. The Planning Commission, they look at it, they get it, they go through the paperwork, they look at the schematics, and they say, hey, this is good. We're going to approve it. They rubber stamp it. Here's your permits and your license to go build that property, that house or home or commercial building on that property. And next thing you do, what do? You go see your contractor, your general contractor, and your contractor says, look, this is what it's going to cost you to put it out there. This is what we need. So the contractor makes an agreement with you. You sign a contract with the contractor. The contractor brings all the subs in, the foundation person, the drywall person, the plumber, the electrician, and all these things go into this. And they start going to work in their separate departments to build this, because under the heading of the general contractor. And next thing you know, what happens? You go back 6 months later, 9 months later, it's built up to specs. And oh my God, it's built. And only then will people see the building that you saw early in your mind. And the same way of building your business. You got to start with the end in mind. What do I want to be? What position I want to be? What kind of income do I want? Where do I want to be in 6 months? What's my goal in a year from today? Where I want to be in 3 years? What's my goal? Let's plan it out. And most people don't do any planning. They let life just toss them around like the wind. So with that in mind, you start with the end in mind. So you start backwards and you see yourself there first, and then you look at your time horizon. Number 2, your time horizon. What is my goal? I have a time horizon. I want to do this in 3 months. I want to do it in 3 years. I want to do it in 5 years or 7 years. But you must look at what is it you want to build. Question is this: are you willing to go to work to make it real, to make it come off the schematics and go right there on that property? Are you willing to stay committed to see the job through? Are you willing to see it through? See, I look at a cartoon character sometime on these cartoon reels, they're playing it backwards because they started with the end in mind. And I start with the end in mind, I think about Michael Jackson moonwalking backwards. But you have to start with the end in mind. And once you understand that philosophy, you could go build a tremendous business, but you got to stay to the script. What's the script? My plans that I have to draw and to build this property on, this house on. That's the key. So start with the end in mind. You'll be amazed where you could be 3 to 5 years. Because let me tell you something, whether you do it or not, let me explain this to you. Come here, get closer. Whether you do it or not, 3 or 5 years is going to come and go anyway. Anyway. Whether you got no plans or you do have plans, 3 to 5 years is going to come and go anyway. So why not be down the road to where you really want to be in 3 to 5 years? Watch this. If I ask you to look back 3 to 5 years ago to where you're at today, are you where you really want to be today? Well, okay. Well, wait a minute. Those that planned 3 or 5 years ago, some of you guys are on track because you planned it. Because why? You started with the end in mind. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you, start with the end in mind. You'll be amazed where you can be in 3 to 5 years. You'll be amazed the kind of organization you can have. You'll be amazed at the income you can have. You'll be amazed at the vacations, the trips you can take. You'll be amazed at all this stuff. But it doesn't happen unless you plan it and start today with the end in mind.